Hello, Year 11. Welcome back to part 2 of your fluency test for week 12. Question 13. Make X the subject. This means that we need to get X on its own. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the question so then I can work with it. I have two lots of X minus 4 over 3. First thing we need to do, we need to get rid of 3. And to do so, we multiply both sides of the equation by the same number. That will get rid of the 3. So we're left with 2x minus 4 on this side. And on the other side, we have a 3a. Now our subject is stuck in the brackets. So we'll need to expand the brackets to get it out. Okay, now we need to get rid of the 8 because we need to get rid of everything that's closer to x. 8 is done first. Successful elimination is done with an inverse operation. So adding 8 to both sides gets rid of it. So I have 2x equals to 3a plus 8. Now I need to get rid of this 2 here, and I do that by dividing both sides by 2. So x is equal to 3a plus 8 over 2. Question 14. Complete the table. We know now that we need to substitute the values of x given. So I have minus 5. It's being multiplied by minus 2. That will give me a positive 10. In here, I have a minus 5 being multiplied by minus 1. That gives me a positive 5. 0 multiplied by negative 5, we know it's 0. And then we have a negative 5 multiplied by a positive 1, and that's a negative 5. Factorize. To factorize, we find common factors. We know that we have to make brackets. I'm going to rewrite the question as a factor, as a product of factors, so that you can see what needs to come out. Before that, I find the highest common factor of these two numbers, and that will be 6. So I rewrite the 24 as 4 times 6 times x times x. And the 18 will be written as negative 3 times 6, because that gives me negative 18. And I have the times the x. Okay, I am going to now find what's in common here. So I have this 6 and I have this 6. So that comes out of the brackets. Then I have an x that's in common there and another one that's in common there. So that comes out too. You're left with the 4 and you're left with x. You're left with 4x. And in here, you're left with just the 3. You have factorized it. You can check by expanding if you've got it right. So 6x times 4x gives me 24x squared. And 6x, take away 3, if you multiply them, gives me a negative 18x. So I must have done it right. Question 16. Simplify. We need to use the laws of indices. So when we have the brackets, we know that we multiply the powers. 3 times 3, it's 9, times x to the power of 5. Now, we have the same base. These are being multiplied, and the bases are the same. So we put the base down, in our case is x, and we add the powers. And that will be your finished answer. Question 17. If a person walks 9 miles in 2 hours, what's their speed? We know that we need box method for speed, distance, time questions. We also know that 2 hours is equal to 120 minutes, 260s. So let's go. Miles, minutes. We draw the boxes. We got given then 9 of them, it's 120. And then we've been asked for 60, because that's the speed in 1 hour, 60 minutes in 1 hour. So divided by 2 and divided by 2. So the speed is 4.5 miles per hour. And that's finished. Question 18, estimate. To estimate, we round to 1 SF. So let's do the rounding first. 24, 4 is too weak, so that remains as a 20. Take away 2.8. First SF is a 2, 8 is too strong, so they'll change it into a 3, and I'm still squaring that. Plus 11, 1 is too weak, so that will remain as a 10. Now I work it out, now I calculate. So 20, take away 9, 10, that's 11, 10, and that is 21. Okay, moving on to the next question. We have a SIM equation now. So we have a lot of negatives here, so we're going to have to be very careful with this. First thing, as always, label them, A and B. I'm going to get a pen. Okay, now I look at the numbers before X or Y because I need to make them the same. Okay, the coefficient, the number before X's, it's a 1 there and a 1 there, and they are the same, so I don't need to do any multiplication. All I need to do is same side subtract, same sign subtract, or different signs add. And in my case, they have different signs here. This is a positive one that you can't see, and that's a negative one. Since they have different signs, I need to add these two equations together. So the reason why I add them is because I want to eliminate. So take away 1, add 1, leaves me with nothing. 3 plus 2 is a 5y. Negative 23, add negative 7. So that will give you a negative 30. So from negative 23, think about it this way, negative 23, you're going to go down 7 more, you're going to end up at negative 30. So your y is negative 6. Now that we found y, we substitute that into equation A to find x. Okay, so let's do just that. We sub into A. So we have a negative x plus 3 lots of negative 6 gave us negative 23. So negative x plus a negative 18, negative 23. We need to solve this equation now, and we do that by eliminating the 18. So I have a negative x equals to a negative 5. Now it's not asking you to find the negative x, it's asking you to find the x. So if you multiply both of these sides by negative 1, if we multiply both of them by negative 1, we end up with x equals to 5, because negative 1 times negative x gives me x, and negative 5 times negative 1 gives me a positive 5. Now that I found x and I found y, I can just sub them into b to check. So I have onto b, I have a 5, this is my b equation, plus 2 lots of negative 6, that gave me negative 7. So 5, take away 12 is negative 7. That means that negative 7 is equal to negative 7. So I know I've done that right. Your solutions are 5 and negative 6. Okay, question 20. We have a division by decimals and we know that that's not possible. So we're going to write it as a fraction, and we're going to use equivalent fractions to help ourselves. We need an integer in the denominator. The 2 here, the place value of the 2 is in the thousandths. So we know because of that, we need to multiply by 1,000 to make that a 2. And whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. So that will be a 60. And now it's so easy to do. 60 divided by 2, or half of 60, is 30. Question 21. We have an expand and simplify question. Okay. Again, we're going to have to do x times x. That gives me an x squared. X times -3, negative 3x. Positive 4 times x, positive 4x. Positive 4 times -3, negative 12. We need to collect like terms to just simplify this a little bit. So those two are the same. You circle them, including their signs. So x squared is there. Now we have a -3, and we're adding 4 to it. So we're going to be going up. 1, 2, 3, 4. -2, -1, 0, and 1. Move this a little bit so I can write. There. So -3, add 4, it's a positive 1x. Take away 12. And then that's all it is for this question. Question 22 is the opposite of it. So we have it expanded. Now we need to make brackets. So first thing first, you start with your double brackets. You have an x squared, so you know that you had an x there and you had an x there. So when you multiplied them, it gave you x squared. The number that we're going to work with is -5, because in here you have a number that got multiplied. In here you have a number that when multiplied by this one, it gave you -5, like on the previous question. So what two numbers give us -5 when multiplied? Okay, I have a couple of options. So -5 times +1 gives me a -5. Also, a +5 times a -1 gives me a -5. Now I need to decide which one of them, when I add them, gives me a 4. And I mean, I need a 4 because of this part here. That's a 4 there. So because of that, I need a 4. So I go -5, add 1, gives me a -4. Oh, well, I found that. So the two numbers are these ones. You're just going to put one in that bracket and the other one in that bracket. And you have factorized this quadratic. Question 23. Calculate the circumference. We know that now for circumference is pi times diameter. I'm just going to put the answer there, and you are going to do gelosia for it. So when you send me the pictures, I would need to see your gelosia method. So the answer for this question, for the circumference, would be 47.1. As I'm saying to you, I need to see the gelosia question, the gelosia method when you get this question. Number 24, solve. Until now, you've been asked to do different things with 24, so be careful. It's asking us to solve. We solve inequalities the same way as we solve equations. So we're going to eliminate, and we're going to get x's on the same side. Okay, let's have a look at this. So we have x on both sides. We get rid of the smallest x. 2x is bigger than 1x, so we get rid of the small x by doing the opposite, by eliminating it. Okay, so 2x take away x leaves you with 1x, 5, In here now, x take away x. I've noticed before that you just leave it empty, but that's just not possible. You're going to have to think of it this way. What's 5 take away 5? Where is 0? So you're going to have to do x take away x is 0. Don't leave it empty. Now, again, we haven't finished solving. We need to get rid of the 5 by eliminating it, by adding 5 on both sides. So x is smaller than positive 5. And you have done it. Okay, moving on to question 25. We have to calculate x with reasons. Now, these are angles on parallel lines. We have so opposite angles, but this is not on parallel lines. This is just when they are like that. But in our case, we need to look for z angles, c angles, and f angles. So as I can see in here, I have a z. These are called alternate angles. And I know that alternate angles are equal. So z are called alternate. And they are equal in size. So I know the x is equal to 25 degrees. Question 26. Calculate x with reasons. Okay, I can see that I have a regular shape which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So I have a 6-sided regular shape. And it's asking me for an exterior angle. I know that the sum of all angles in the regular shape, it's equal to 360. So all of them. And what it means by that is this x here, with this one there, with that one there, this one, that one, and that one, all of them together must give you 360. It's 360 in all shapes. If it's a 5-sided, or 4-sided, 6, 7, and so on. So all of them are 360. Because I have a 6-sided shape, I have 360 divided by 6 sides, and that will give me 60 degrees, because 6 times 6 is 36. So if I have this to be 60, you can see that if I add all of these 60s together, I get 360. And that is your final answer. Okay, guys, make sure you mark your work. And when you send me the photos of it, please send me the marked version with your working out. Thank you.